Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome back again to another episode of the weekly newspaper and analysis of the Assam Tribune. So, as you all know, we do this on a weekly basis, and you can follow us every Sunday at 7 a.m. আৰু আমাক এইটো এপিছ'ডত আজি আমি ডিছকাছ কৰিম all the important news of from 3rd August to the 9th of August. Now, on the 3rd of August, as you can see, the first news here that has been covered is the infrastructure. Now, 121-kilometer ring road, which will be developed in Guwahati. Now, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs on Friday approved 8 national high-speed road corridor projects, including 4-lane Northern Guwahati bypass and widening and improvement of existing Guwahati bypass and Kharagpur-Moregam corridor to transform the economy of West Bengal and Northeast. Now, the central government has approved 8 other such national high-speed road corridor projects. But why? Now, as you all know that Guwahati has recently faced a huge waterlogging crisis, and many people have been blaming this on the building construction roads and other bypass and flyovers and other such areas. So there is one thing that you must understand is that the government is not building this because they simply have to build it. But since the urban population of Guwahati has been increasing, the population density has been increasing a lot. So this is a project which is envisioned for the next 20 years. So today you must be seeing a lot of cars in the Guwahati that has been running on the road. But after 10 or 20 years, maybe another 10 to 12 years, you will be seeing even more higher density of people living inside the Guwahati city. So in that case of time, just having a single lane road or just having a double lane road will not be sufficient for people to drive the cars and travel from one distance to the other, because ultimately the economy runs on the transport sector. The entire economy runs on the transport sector. So if from one place to the other place, if the transport and the communication is not smooth, is not proper, it is going to hamper the development of a particular region. And keeping this thing in mind, the government projects the entire bypass, the roads and the flyovers and other such things, keeping in mind the next 20 years, the population density of the next 20 years. Okay, this is just the statistics that they work on. Now, a major bridge over the river Brahmaputra will also be constructed as part of the project. Now, this is an ongoing project. The Guwahati Ring Road will provide seamless connectivity to long distance traffic plying on National Highway 27. So, the National Highway 27, which is the connecting link, so we need even more lanes through this national highway, so that there is seamless transaction of transport and communication from one place to the other place. Ultimately, it is the transport which runs the entire economy of a place. Now, the Indo-Bangladesh Protocol route boosted cargo movement. This is the Indo-Bangladesh Protocol route. Now, since Bangladesh has been a very important news for the past few weeks, ever since Sheikh Hasina, she fled to India. She left the government, she resigned from the government, and then she fled to India. Now, everybody is speculating whether or not Bangladesh new government will continue the similar kind of political and diplomatic relationship with India or not. Now, this is a project, this is a protocol which was discussed a long time back when Sheikh Hasina was in power. But there is a good news that even though Sheikh Hasina has fled the country, but these things have not been affected. Now, the opening of Indo-Bangladesh Protocol route has further boosted cargo movement by linking National Waterway 1 and National Waterway 2, which is the Brahmaputra river, thereby enhancing trade and commerce in the northeast. So we need also to establish the National Waterway 1 and National Waterway 2, because not all goods and services can be traveled by road. There are certain cargoes which need to be traveled by a ship, which needs to be traveled by water, and we need to have a connecting link with the national waterways between the different regions of our country and also internationally, because this is somewhere where we can reduce the cost of transportation from one sector, from one region to the other region. Next, we have the significant projects are also underway on NW2, which is National Waterway 2, and National Waterway 16. Now, there can be one simple question which can come in your prelims, which is The Barak River. This is the Barak River. The Barak River, the national waterway of the Barak River is known as which national waterway? So the options might be National Waterway 2, National Waterway 1 or 16 or 12 or something like this. So you have to remember National Waterway 2 is for the Brahmaputra River and National Waterway 16 is for the Barak River. So this is a simple prelims question which might come in your next year. So you can simply mark it down in your notebook. Okay. So this is along the Indo-Bangladesh Protocol route. Now next we see on the 3rd of August, again we have the infrastructure, which is innovations such as IWAI vessel tracker and a Pani portal provide real-time tracking and navigation information, while the Car D portal streamlines cargo and passenger data management. So this is in regard to the National Waterway Connecting Link. Now there are certain vessels. The name of the vessel is IWAI vessel tracker. Okay, this is a vessel tracker. Like in school buses and other trucks and all, we keep a GPS machine to locate the exact location of the particular transport from where the cargo has reach and from where the cargo has started and to where the cargo has reached. Then we have the Pani portal, which will provide a real time tracking. Okay, it is like the real time, like you can say the Google Maps. So the Google Maps will give you the real time traffic locations. So according to that, it reroutes your location from one distance to the other distance. So similarly, the Pani portal will also provide a real-time tracking and navigation information. For example, let's say if a cargo ship is been traveling on the Brahmaputra River, so if there is any abnormalities that the Pani portal has seen, that inside that this is a particular location where the river is acting very abnormally. So in these particular kind of situations or scenarios, the Pani portal is going to give a navigation, is going to give a, you can say, as a sort of a warning that this is a navigation warning. You need to reroute your cargo ship from this place to the other place because there has been some abnormalities detected inside the river. So these are the certain kind of technologies which has been incorporated in these kind of connecting links. Okay, then we have the Car D portal, which streamlines cargo and passenger data management. So these are certain vessel names, these are certain technology names which you need to write it down. IWAI, then there is Pani, and the other is the Car D. Okay, these things are all related to the waterway management of the Barak Valley, the Brahmaputra Valley along the Indo-Bangladesh relations. Okay. Next we have is the education sector. So no more divisional system and metric. So what it says is that earlier when we used to give metric, then there used to be divisions. That is the division according to the marks and the position secured. Now there used to be 10 or 20 people who used to who are the most you can say the most marks scorer, and they used to be the stand people. Ki stand korise ba etu korise ba hetu korise, and then there used to be the first division, the star mark, the people who have received a distinction, that is they have received letter marks in all the subjects. Then there are star marks who receives letters in more than 3 subjects. Then there are first division, then there are second division, then there is third division. So this kind of ranking system was prevalent for a long time, and this is actually not a good competition. It is a very unhealthy competition because the students then used to remain more marks oriented. Okay, and then the quality of the particular education system or of the students was not given much concern during the time when the competition was mostly a divisional basis. So the Ranuj Pegu, who is the education minister of Assam, he said that the divisional system in metric will be eradicated very soon. So this change aims to reduce the emphasis on grades and divisions, allowing higher educational institutions and employers to evaluate students and candidates using their own criteria or alternative methods. Okay. Next we have on the international politics, we have Germany joins the United Nations Command. That means earlier Germany did not send any of its army contingent to serve as a as a platoon inside the United Nations command. But this is the first time that Germany has sent its own contingent. So Germany has formally joined the US-led UN command as the 18th official member state. So Germany has become the 18th official member states to send its army to the United Nations. Okay, because the United Nations does not have its own army. It is just a combination of armies from different countries who volunteer as the United Nations army. So Germany used to refrain from it, but now Germany has started sending its armies to be assisted or to volunteer in the United Nations command. But United Nations command is mostly US regulated command. Now Germany's admission into the unit overseeing the armistice of the 1953 Korean War came as South Korea has recently sought to expand cooperation with like-minded countries to better deter North Korea's evolving military threats. Okay. So during the 1950 to 53, the Korean War, when South Korea and North Korea were divided because of the two camps during the Cold War period, there was an armistice signed which said that there used to be specific countries who will never participate in such kind of wars, who will never participate in proxy wars, and since then they have not sent their armies to volunteer as the United Nations under the United Nations. But now since South Korea is also sending its volunteer missions, so Germany has also entered this race. So you see, because at this point of time I want to tell you, but this news is of 3rd of August, but recently you've seen that Iran is trying to attack Israel. Okay, Iran is making plans to attack Israel. Now these are secret services information. We are not sure whether it is going to be materialized or not, even though Khamenei has said that Iran is going to take action against Israel. But sometimes when we consider the policies of Iran is not so much interested in direct wars. Iran has always been interested in proxy wars. So it has always sent armies, it has always helped the militant organizations to conduct their wars on their behalf with the other countries. So Iran has never participated in any kind of direct war. So it is very highly unlikely that Iran is going to directly participate in a war with Israel. Now considering that the United States has sent all its naval vessels towards Israel to help Israel in case Iran suddenly attacks Israel. But most of the time Iran has always believed in proxy wars, so we don't know what is going to happen. So because of this situation, in case, let's see, if Iran actually attacks Israel, then there is a high chance that the world is going to enter into the third phase of the World War. Okay, because already two wars have been going on. One is the Ukraine and the Russia. The other one is, as you know, it is between the Palestine and the Israel. But now if Iran enters into the scene, then the United States is also going to enter the scene, and then other countries are also going to follow. Even Russia will then come and back Iran in this case. North Korea is going to come and back Iran in this case. Okay, so these are certain developments in the war related factors. Now next, on the 3rd of August, we have another which is reimagining Ahom Moidam. So this is a very interesting article. So this article is very important for you. It's a very important article. You can write it down in your notebook and other if you have any writing notepad. So what does that article say? A Frank Moidam or Moidam, which is a Thai language, means burial of the dead, as we all know. And there is a particular book, the name of the book is A Reimagined History, published by HarperCollins India by Orup Kumar Dutta. So this is an important point for you. You can write it down. Maybe in the next year prelims, this question might be asked, that who wrote the book A Reimagined History, which is based on the Ahom Moidams. Okay, it is written by Orup Kumar Dutta. The story here begins with Godador Hingha. Godador Hingha. Although the king had taken many wives, his only children were the two sons he had fathered with Soti Joymoti. He had also made known his wish that his eldest son Lai be installed on the throne after his death. So this entire article is based on a story of Godador Hingho and his son Lai. So what happened after Godador Hingho's death? So according to Shan custom, if a successor has been named, the nobles must on the death of the incumbent monarch immediately bow before the new king and place him on the royal throne. That is, according to Shan custom, if the king is there and if he wants to nominate someone as the king, let's say he has nominated his son to be a king, and then his son has to come and seek the blessing of his father, and the incumbent monarch will bow before the new king and place him on the royal throne. But in this case, what happened? Godador Hingho, he passed away very soon, and before Lai was actually, at that point of time, he was stationed somewhere else, and Godador Hingho was in the capital city. So when Godador Hingho fell ill, then Godador Hingho's corpse was been ambled within the tent by a process and medicines known only to the Ahom priest so as to prevent it from decomposing. The nobles took Lai back to Gorgaon and formally announced that he would be the new king. So in this case, it was a different tradition because Godador Hingho passed away out of nowhere. He passed away all of a sudden, and Lai was stationed somewhere else. So he had to be brought back to Gorgaon, and when he was brought back to Gorgaon, Godador Hingho had already passed away, and his body was embedded with the tent inside the tent, and certain medicines were applied on the body so that the body does not decompose very early. So Lai deferred ascension of the Hingori Ghor and forbade any sort of activity to celebrate his being made the king till his father could be cremated according to the Ahom custom. So he said that I will not be celebrated as the new king until my father has been cremated according to the Ahom tradition. So the dead, what they do, the dead is being carried on the back of an elephant to the capital with the thousands of citizens lining the road to bid final goodbye to their monarch. So it's like bidding farewell to the dead. Now, Hehotia Fukon was in overall charge of building the mausoleum. So it is ultimately the Hehotia Fukon who will ultimately build the entire Moidam. So during the earlier stage, the structure of Moidam were built with bamboo and cane, and later then wood was used. So only during the past few decades were brick and mortar used for building the royal mausoleums. Okay. So it was basically made with bamboos and stuffs like that, but later on when wood was highly supplied to the capital, and then when stones and bricks came into the Ahom capital, then the mausoleums or the moidams were built like that. Now indigenous masons had learned of making of brick building from the Kachari. So this is a new information for us, that the indigenous Ahom masons, they didn't know the art of making mausoleums or moidams with the help of brick. So this was a new technology or the new infrastructure or the new architecture designs which they had learned from the Kacharis, and they were not proficient enough to be fully entrusted with the job, so they had to bring masons from Bengal and Orissa. So, okay, and then ingredients such as lentil, lime, molasses were actually used as a binding agent. Now the Hehotia Fukon kept record of the quantity of material that was used. It was Deodhai head priest who chose the site for the moidam. So the site was always chosen by the Deodhai head priest. Okay, then there is a blueprint of the structure had already been made by the palace architect in consultation with the king, patra mantris, priests and head masons. The lower floor, which would have many chambers, including the burial vault in which the body of the monarch would be placed. So this is the blueprint of the structure. So the blueprint of the structure is like a blueprint of the house. So whenever we wish to build a house, we always take the help of the astrologers before building a house. Okay, so likewise the head priest used to select the location of a particular burial chamber. Okay, the various chambers were meant for use of retainers who would be buried alive along with the monarch in order to pander to the latest needs. So there used to be some living objects as well. For example, goats, or you can say some horses, or you can say the elephant, or some maids and all stuffs like that. That means ghorot kam kora sakor wagera and those things. So they used to bury them also alive, so that these people or these living beings can actually assist the king when the king is traveling from this world to the next world. Now on medicine and health, a new advanced digital mammography unit was inaugurated in Nekri, which is the Northeast Cancer Hospital, which is located in Jorabad. So what is mammography? Mammography means a technology which is which helps to detect breast cancer in women. Okay, so a lot of female cancer patients, they don't find related to mammography unit centers here, so they have to go to some outer places. Let's say they have to go to Hyderabad, they have to go to Mumbai, then they have to go to Delhi and all, in order to get themselves checked with this mammography unit. But it has been installed here in Guwahati now, and so any patient who who is suspected of having a breast cancer, any female, they can go and they can check their mammography. Okay, now culture and heritage. From the 4th of August, we have the black rice. Now Prime Minister has actually spoken about a kind of rice called as black rice. Now Prime Minister Modi has said that black rice, which is produced in Assam, Manipur and Meghalaya, is a very good nutritional source for Indians. Now black rice is mainly from Manipur, Assam and Meghalaya, is a very preferred choice of the medicinal value. Now this rice most of us have been consuming for decades, but now I think many people have stopped consuming black rice because it is expensive also, and plus we are not quite we as Assamese, we feel very conscious while celebrating our own culture. We don't like to eat black rice and all, but this is something which we have been exporting it to the foreign countries like Dubai and stuffs like that. So we need to create an awareness about the black rice, about the farming of black rice, and not many people actually farm black rice. So the theme for this year's conference is transformation towards sustainable agriculture food, and the conference was pressing need for sustainable agriculture in the face of climate change. Now tourism sector, we have Mayong Indrajal tourism. So as we all know that Mayong is a place of magic in Assam, and it is a very famous place all over India, and there are mythological stories which are related to the place of Mayong. So Mayong Indrajal festival, it is called as Indrajal Magic Festival. It will be conducted in the Mayong area, and which will be the first magic tourism festival in all of India. Okay, the first magic festival. So we used to listen to stories of Harry Potter and all, that all these magic festivals used to happen in fictional books and fictional stories, but this is a real thing that has been happening. So this is the first time ever that the Morrigaon district has decided to celebrate this festival in order to increase more and more tourism into the area. So it is actually not a very bad thing. Now on the trade, we have ASEAN India trade meet discusses key areas. So there was a 5th meeting of the ASEAN India Trade in Goods and Agreement ATIGA, and all you need to know here is only the term related to it, which is ATIGA. So this is a full form. ATIGA, the full form is the ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement, and it was held in Jakarta. So this is what you need to know. Beyond this, there's not much relevant information. Now on the 5th of August, we have media and journalism, Doinik Okhom as trailblazer of regional journalism. So Doinik Okhom, the milestone of Assamese print journalism, established by great visionary Singh Purush Radha Gobinda Barua, step into its diamond jubilee year. Okay, Doinik Okhom, which is the regional journalism, has been stepping as one of the milestones in Assamese journalism, and the person who is behind this is Radha Gobinda Barua. Next, we have this Doinik Okhom first started in the year 1965, and the first editor of Doinik Okhom was Kirtinath Hazarika. Okay. Next, we have the Nourishing the Future, which is the editorial of the week, which is a very important editorial. I wish I am expecting all of you to mark it down. Now the FAO emphasizes that world food production should be increased by 70%. Okay, it should be increased by 70% to the growing population in 2050 and by 2030. So now at the rate of what we are producing food is not enough to cater to the population demands from the year 2030 to the year 2050. We need to increase our food production, but the problem is the soil content and everything has been so much damaged because of the use of chemicals and all, and the soil quality has degraded over the period of time because of the rapid climate change. So how are we going to meet the needs of these people? How are we going to meet the nutritional demands of the future generations? And how are we going to increase the production? So in this case, a simple solution that has been offered is the growth of millets. Okay, so it has been reported that the pre-green revolution era, 40% of total cultivated areas were under grains like millet, and today it is around 20% only. So earlier it used to be 40% of the cultivation used to be of millets, but now only remaining of it is 20%. But millets are actually the one of the most nutritious food that we can ever find on our earth, and it is also very climate resistant grain. So in 2023, United Nations also declared the year of International Year of Millets, highlighting its importance. Okay, now the importance of millet is like it was yesterday's coarse grain, but it is today's nutri-cereal, and it is considered as a destiny crop. Why? Because it is resistant to most pests and diseases, and also it is able to adapt well to the harsh environments. Okay, so that is why it is considered as one of the destiny crops. Now value of millets and declared it as nutri-cereals for production, consumption, trade and marketing purposes. So Ministry of Agriculture has also said that we need to increase awareness, and we need to increase the value of millets so that we can declare it as one of the nutri-cereals. Sorry. Now millets include pearl millet, finger millet, foxtail millet, proso millet, koro millet, barnyard, little and brown top millet. So these are different varieties of millets which are actually found in India. Next we have India is one of the leading exporters of millets in the world. For example, Nepal, the UAE, Saudi, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, UK, Yemen, and these are the countries where millets are being exported from India. Now, Assam has set the goal to boost the millet cultivation as well. So, the International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics, which is called as ICRISAT, and the government of Assam have also entered into an agreement for the Assam Millet Mission, which is important because you can make a answer writing on this Assam Millet Mission. Okay, next we have is the nutritive value of Indian food. According to the nutritive value of Indian food, millets contain energy of 331 kilocalorie. Then protein we have 12 grams, carbohydrate we have 70, fats we have 4.3 grams, then fiber we have 8 grams, and calcium and vitamins per 100 gram. Okay, so it is, you can say, one of the balanced meal that you can have for your nutritional requirements of your body. Even though the protein content is quite better than eggs, I feel, but so or less we need more and more protein content. So you can include whey protein in your diet, you can also include eggs in your diet, you can include paneer and stuffs like that, but more or less, more than eggs, you can include fish and meat in your diet. Okay, now besides these, they are naturally gluten free and have a very low glycemic index. So when we have low glycemic index, that means our entire the sugar levels has been naturally controlled by our body, and we are out of the risk of being a diabetic patient. Okay, our pancreas is actually working very nicely, and the body is able to regulate the sugar levels inside our system. Okay, so it is very low glycemic index and it is naturally gluten free. Now, some of them are national to promote awareness among farmers about millets. So, these are the certain missions which have been introduced by the government. You can take a screenshot of these missions and you can include in your answers. Next, we have millet cultivation is considered as a destiny crop because of the following reasons. It is drought tolerance, that means it can be grown in less water. It is heat tolerance, it is climate resistant, it can be grown, the crop is not destroyed even when the temperature rises above the normal temperature. Then it is short growing season, that means it does not take time to be cultivated for a longer period. It is nutrient efficiency, it is low input requirements, that is you don't need to give, it is not like a cash crop, so you don't need to give a lot of input in there. You don't need to give it the chemicals like fertilizer, pesticides and stuff like that. And it is also resilience to pest and diseases, so you do not need to give any chemical input to the growth of these millets. So that is why it is called as a destiny crop. Next, on the 6th of August, we have international politics since Hasina flees to India and Bangladesh descends into chaos. So we have seen that many youngsters, the youth population, have entered into the Bangladesh Prime Minister's residence and they have stole everything including undergarments as well. Now, at the center of people's anger is, as you all know, is because of the quota system, and there are other important areas of what you can say, other areas where the Bangladesh population has really felt that Hasina government was actually a dictator. So you must have read all the reports and other stuff, so I don't need to explain it more here. So Wayanad disaster is a result of illegal human habitats mining allowed by Kerala, which is said by Environmental Minister Bhupendra Yadav. Now, Yadav, being the Environment Minister, he is giving a direct blame on the Kerala government, but irrespective of the political parties here, there are certain things which has been pointed out by Bhupendra Yadav and which I feel is actually true in this case. For example, the illegal human habitat expansion and mining in the state, unregulated mining in the state, which has been undergoing for a long time, which has actually hampered the ecological fragile region, and that is exactly the reason why the devastating landslides had happened. Now, Yadav said that illegal mining on non-forest land, uncontrolled construction and unregulated commercial activities are the key factors, which is actually true in the certain case. Now, Environment Minister has already issued 6 draft notifications since 2014 to declare over 56,800 square kilometer of Western Ghats across 6 states as eco-sensitive. So, the Environment Minister had been giving notices and had been giving notifications and draft notification to the states to make certain areas as eco-sensitive. But Bhupendra Yadav said that Kerala government has ignored all these kind of notification. So the Environment Minister has also issued 14 notification covering 23 protected areas and 17 draft notification to declare 32 protected areas as eco-sensitive zones. Now, on agriculture and technology, digital crop survey to be included in the 29 districts to start this month. So this is a very visionary project. Now, what is this digital crop survey? Just like we have the Aadhaar card. So when we see our Aadhaar card, we get to know every information of our personal details, our professional details, we get to know where we live, and we get to know about the bank account details which are there. So everything we get to know from our Aadhaar card. So likewise, when we have a digital crop survey, when we have this one, then it ultimately, the real benefit of the agriculture schemes, the real value of the agriculture is being automatically sent to the central government without any information from the middleman. So we will see what this is done. So this is like to create one single verified source of truth for the farmer and crop data. That is one single verification. In case you are a farmer and you need to have loans, you need to take loans from the government to start something else. So you need to give a lot of documentation to prove that you have this kind of land or that kind of land. But when you are going to have this one single verified window portal where the government can actually get all your information, your land records, your agriculture income, and everything will be sent to the government. So it is like a one step window where you don't have to go from places to places for your verification of your documents. So it is a very good thing which has been done. Next we have is Agriculture and Technology, a 2-day state level workshop to train the district and the other revenue circle level officials on the digital crop survey has been organized by the government. Now AgriStack will be the name of the digital platform. So everybody of you must note of this down, which is called as AgriStack. Okay, this might come in your prelims, or even if you're preparing for UPSC, this might be an important thing, which is AgriStack. Now, one of the details of the farmer's agriculture land are attached to AgriStack. He or she does not have to go from office to office for verification of all documents. Okay, so this is like the Aadhaar card that we have. Next, we have Carbon Smart Paris Games. This is an article of the week which was written in response to the carbon friendly Paris Olympic, which has been ongoing recently in Paris. So previous Olympic Games followed a strategy of assessing their carbon footprint only after the events had been concluded. But Paris Olympic is different because they are enhancing the energy efficiency, limiting new construction by making use of existing facilities and adding bike lanes to encourage sustainable transportation. Next, we have the games are minimizing the use of fuel powered generators and ensuring that medals, podiums, and much of the event are sourced from the sustainable produced goods. Okay. Now, spectator travel continues to be one of the largest source of carbon emissions, primarily due to international travel by plane and airways. So that is why the carbon emissions happen more often when these level of international platforms are being hosted. So they are trying to use more or less the less use of the fuel generated powers. Now, low carbon vehicles will be used to commute around the venues, and most venues have been made accessible by foot or by public transport. So the construction industry is one of the largest greenhouse gas emissions there. So majority of the installations that has been done in the Paris Olympics is been installed by materials which can again be redeployed, reused, and recycled. Next, we have the Olympic Village features a cooling system that utilizes water drawn from the underground instead of relying on air conditioners. So they are not providing air conditioners, and they are mostly relying on the underground water cooling system. And the majority of the diets has been the vegetarian diets. And then to prevent waste of the food, the unconsumed food will be donated to the food banks. Next, on the 7th of August, we have Bangladesh president dissolves parliament. So this is a news already covered by Kalbashri, so I'm not going to explain on it more. Next, we have Guwahati waterlogging issue. Now, Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Ashok Singhal has blamed the rainwater coming down from Meghalaya as a reason for the waterlogging problem, which is really stupid in its own way. But we know that flood affected people alleged that the faulty drainage system and lack of preparedness on the part of the administration and the authorities was the main reason why waterlogging in Guwahati has happened. Even Gaurav Gogoi, member of parliament, has also responded to such waterlogging problems. He has raised questions even in the parliament. Now, culture, we have problems of handloom sector of Assam. This is another editorial, a very important editorial. Okay, this is a very important editorial which you need to understand it. So let's see. The first is Gamusa, which has received the geographical tag of India from the central government, is one of the product of the handloom sector. But such recognition is not going to protect the handloom sector and the livelihood of about 12 lakh weavers of Assam. But why? Because the Handloom Reservation Act, which was passed in 1985 to safeguard the livelihoods of rural weavers, there has been many loopholes. For example, there is only a provision for seizing such articles that are prohibited under the Act, but no mention of penalty or punishment for such malpractices. So people have been copying this handloom. The cost of production in this sector is soaring due to high cost of raw materials, and so introduction of new innovative technologies can actually help retain back or give back the reputation to the handloom sector. It is very difficult for customer also to differentiate between the good handloom, the genuine handloom product, and moreover the online business has been affecting the situation. So establishment of testing labs which can assess the purity of silk in different parts of the state can give a boost to the entire handloom sector. Then product related information like weaver and producer details can also have a transparency between the customer and the seller. And then the Hualkusi cluster, which has been recently adopted this measure of having a transparency between the seller and the customer, has actually helped a lot. Next, we have rising prices of different types of yarn, especially mulberry silk yarn has also led to cost of production. And then under the supervision of local SBO, SHG federations, FPO, NGO, if the transportation cost can be cut down, if the cost of production of the mulberry silk yarn can be cut down, then this can also help boost the handloom sector. Then the product diversification, one of the most bigger problem is the product diversification. Everybody is doing the same thing, everybody is making the same thing. Therefore, there have been inflow of oversupply of such materials in the market, because of which the handloom sector is not performing very well. Then there is no control mechanism to regulate prices of handlooms, because it affects the consumer on the market, and also it affects the distributor and the seller. So there has to be some support mechanism, just like they give in the agriculture sector, there has to be some kind of support mechanism also on the handloom sector. Okay, so these are the certain problems which were given in the editorial. Next, we have the skill and employment. On the 8th of August, only 16% of corporates believe graduates are industry ready. So this is a report which says that 70% of academic institutions believe that only 16% of their graduates are industry ready. So many of them are only more academically prone, but they are not skillfully prone, so they cannot be used, their knowledge cannot be used in solving any industry related problems. So this is a persistent challenge in aligning academic curricula with the industry experience. So this is a report which was produced by Higher Pros, Momentum 2024, the new reality of the college hiring. Okay, next on 9th of August, we have sports, that India win hockey bronze. So bronze medal Olympic. So India has been winning gold for a long period of time in hockey. So after a long period, India has won a bronze medal for the first time in 52 years. The last medal of bronze which was won back in the Olympic medal was in 1968 and 1972 editions. Okay, now on the scheme, CM launches Nijut Moina scheme. So what is Nijut Moina scheme? This is a scheme to increase the enrollment of girls in higher education and curb child marriage. The financial support will be given to 10 months in an academic year. So for HS first year students, they will get of around like 10,000 in an academic year, and for a student of graduate, they will get 12,500 per academic year. Okay, next on culture, we have pact to digitize rare manuscripts. So this is a pact which is signed between Nanda Talukdar Foundation, which is an MOU signed between this organization, this foundation, and Dibrugarh University. So this is a milestone to digitize more than 1000 rare and ancient manuscripts. So these manuscripts are in Assamese, Sanskrit, Thai and Bengali language, and they belong to the Vaishnavism and the Buddhism culture. Now on the legislation, we have leader of opposition moves High Court. So why Saikia has moved High Court? in response to Assam Legislative Assembly petitions Chief Justice of Guwahati against government move of making prepaid meter installation mandatory. So he had said that consumers need to pay in advance for the electricity usage, which disproportionately affects the poorest of the poor who may struggle to make upfront payments. And then mandatory shift to the smart prepaid meters will lead to unemployment of the many meter readers. Then there is erratic billing and technical glitches also. Then the manner in which it has been executed or it has been implemented suffers from gross illegality, high-handedness and misinterpretation. Okay, now there's one more, which is article of the week, which is new concern for Northeast, which is very important article, and you need to study this. It is the most important article of this session. There has been a considerable reduction in the disturbed areas under Armed Special Force Act 1958 in Northeast India. So CRPF Act was passed here, Armed Forces Special Powers Act, so which has been withdrawn from Tripura from 2015 and Meghalaya in the year 2018. It is in similarly Arunachal, Manipur and Nagaland, it has been withdrawn from many police areas. But the problem is there had been a reduction on the 71% of insurgency in the entire Northeast India. Therefore, the Armed Forces Special Power Act has been reduced from these areas. But since Sheikh Hasina's government has resigned, now this is an ongoing fear which has been in the Northeast. So between 2009 to 14, Bangladeshi authorities arrested nearly 36 top Indian insurgent leaders hailing from Meghalaya, Tripura and Assam. So at the peak of Northeast insurgency, Bangladesh hosted 194 militant organizations of the Northeast insurgent formation. So this is not something which is small number, even 194 camps. And these camps were supported by Pakistani ISI and were funded by anti-India organizations. And Alpha, which has a strong presence in the port city of Chittagong, which was also a hub for illegal weapons. But after pro-India government, which is Sheikh Hasina's government, came to power, she made a pact with the Indian government, and then she made a decision to not harbor any of the Northeast militant insurgent movements inside the land of Bangladesh. And following weeks of student protests, Sheikh Hasina has been forced to resign. Now there is a high possibility that the BNP Jamaat, which is Bangladesh Nationalist Party under Khalida Jia, under whose rule Indian insurgents found sanctuaries in Bangladesh, might come back to power. Okay, so this is a fear. Now the technology, we have drone pilot training institutes have been set up in Assam. So northeastern region farm machinery training and testing institutes located in Bishwanath Sariali. So this is the first ever drone pilot training center in all of India, and it's been established in the Northeast India, which is in Bishwanath Sariali. Okay, so this is the news from the 3rd of August to the 9th of August. I hope you liked today's session. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to write down in the comment section. Till then, take care and all the best.